What's going on, guys? Video 4. My wife's gonna be mad because I've got the kitchen behind me. I just have to figure out places to do this because I don't have a setup. My setup right now, just so you know, is my iPhone 11 on top of a container of Clorox disinfecting wipes. Improvise, adapt, and overcome. So, today, I wanted to share an experience that I had as a police officer. When I started on the job training, I was finishing up, and it was the last week. And after this week, I was going to be out all on my own as a new police officer. And the last call of the night was responding to a home where the parents' little 13-year-old girl had committed suicide. I got there and I started CPR. I don't remember how long I was doing it, but we weren't able to save her. Medical ended up telling me after all was said and done that they believed that she was already gone by the time we had gotten there, but that in order to give the parents what little comfort they could give, they did everything that they knew how and everything that they could. But I didn't know that. I was a new officer and I didn't really have any sort of experience with what rigor mortis and liver mortis does to the human body after a certain amount of time. So when I was pushing on this girl's chest, I was pushing. I was desperately trying to save this girl's life. And that incident shook me. It really bothered me. And there were other officers that noticed that, and they were awesome. They were so good about talking to me and helping me and giving me some comfort. And so some time passed and it was out of my mind. I continued working and I got off FTO and I was all out on my own, and life was good. About 3 or 4 months later, however, I started to have dreams of this girl. And they weren't terrifying or anything like that, but they were just random. A couple months pass and it gets to the point where these images and thoughts start to become totally intrusive. I would be doing a complicated task, something that demanded 100% of my attention, and I would be focused, and she would just pop up and completely throw me off any sort of groove that I may have had. This went on for about 9 or 10 months, and I'm currently, during this time, in the Marine Corps Reserve. I still am, as a Marine Sergeant. And there were many times throughout parts of my training where the same thing would happen. I would be doing a task or I would be delegating, doing something, and she would just pop in my head. I started to get emotional, randomly emotional whenever she did pop in my head. And then one day I was with my Marine squad and we were running a live fire range, and she pops in my head again. Here I was, a Marine infantry sergeant who's supposed to have mental discipline. And when this girl pops in my head, I just about bawled my eyes out. The range was completed and I went to my best friend in tears and I told him, I need help, dude. I need help. He gave me a big hug, didn't say another word. And we went over to our Navy chief, who is over the medical part of our unit, and I spilled the beans as to what I was experiencing. This was starting to actively affect my ability to lead my Marines. My chief was able to get me in contact with a specialist and a therapist, and they both believed that I was suffering from post traumatic stress disorder. I could not believe what I was hearing. In my mind, and I know this was a mistaken mentality, but PTSD were for those people who sacrificed so much for our country or for their community, and through what they'd seen or experienced, in some way, shape, or form, their mind couldn't handle it. Here I was, a Marine infantry sergeant that had never seen a battlefield, and also a police officer who was just starting my career. And they were telling me that my mind was already having issues. I didn't know what to think, but I got help. I was able to do therapy, and I am in a much better place right now. I guess what I really want to share with this story is that you are not weak if you experience some sort of mental struggle. What it means is that you are human. Whatever it is that you're going through, whatever it is that you are experiencing, it is okay. And it's okay not to be okay, but it's not okay to not be okay and not ask for help. You are not alone. You will never be alone. What you may be experiencing right now may not be PTSD, may not be obsessive compulsive disorder, or whatever sort of sickness or disorder or ailment is out there. But the lesson remains the same. There are some things that you cannot do alone. There are some things that you cannot overcome with sheer willpower. You need support and you need encouragement. And that may be in the form of religion, that may be in the form of therapy, that may be in the form of a combination of things. And I hope, maybe in a small way, I'm part of that for you as well. That's all that I have today. That wasn't one that I really had structured in my mind, but I felt very strongly that I had to get that out there and just share that. So be safe, be decent.